Nigeria's economy, state of the nation, being examined this first Monday of 2017, the second. Welcome everyone. Whatever your holiday period is, we'll be back to business tomorrow when the markets and business formally resumed for the next 64 days of 2017. Bismarck Ruwani, economist and chief executive officer at Financial Derivatives, is our guest on the show today, a holiday edition of Business Money, the first in the new year. Mr. Ruwani, thank you very much. Let's continue from where we stopped. As far as Nigeria is concerned, in terms of growth rate among its major peers of the continent, we look like the only one that was heading south when others were, well, technically moving north. Look at Kenya, 5.7%, Angola, 4.9%, Ghana, with all the problems and all the interventions from the IMF, a growth of 4% in 2016.
Well, the truth is that, whether you like it or not, once you address your borrowing needs and look for the most efficient way of borrowing, you will get out of a recession. Recessions are cyclical. Somebody was on a program yesterday that the US has had 47 or 48 recessions in the last 100 years, you know. So it's cyclical.
It's how you manage it that matters, isn't
absolutely.
it?
And you see, you've got to understand it, and you've got to spend your way out of it. When I say spend your way out of it, spending is not the same thing as investment. Spending is on consumption and all of that, but when you invest, China for 10 years or so invested up to almost 12% of its GDP on infrastructure. So you got to decide that you got to invest in infrastructure. You're not going to, you cannot, our total budget expenditure for 2017 is $26 billion, while in 2016 it was $30 billion. $26 billion is less than 5% of the total GDP. That's not going to move the needle.
So you would need more than 10%.
Listen, I can assure you that before the end of 2017, there will be a supplementary budget. Because this is not going to get you. It's a move in the right direction, but you need to move the needle.
This money is not enough. But again, we'll look at some of this. Let's take a quick look at 2017. The president, very quickly, let's go back to the president. At this time, he delivered about 27 or 28 paragraphs, New Year message. That was about yesterday. And in the first, before this president spoke about the economy, that was almost in the 19th paragraph. Yes. So, last year it was the first on his New Year speech. This year it was around 28th paragraph. First, he was very happy about the security in the Northeast and what was done, those who are taking up arms against the country and all of that. So let's talk about the social side of things. Do you think, when the president says, I facilitate with you today,
yes,
do you think he was speaking to what most Nigerians would like to hear vis-a-vis 2016?
Well, I think in a way, yes, because no matter what your economic gains are, if there's a security lapse or a bomb, you lose everything. So security is important. And security is efficient. Look at how much we are spending on security relative to how much we are getting. The previous administration has spent a lot and we got nothing because of the racket. Now they're spending a lot less, but we are getting a lot more. So no question about that addressing that is important. But the security situation is not only because the markets of the Northeast and North Central are affected. If I'm a producer in Nigeria today and I cannot get my goods to the North Central and Northeast, I'm losing at least 28 to 40% of the market is cut off. So it's important you address that. On the social side, he talked about the war against corruption, and that is work in progress, but we have got nowhere. Nobody, as a matter of fact, corruption is fighting back and it seems to be winning. So we need to get a hand on it. But the economy itself, you must accept, he's done three things. One, they've deregulated the price of petroleum. He's introduced a foreign exchange policy which has not been implemented fully the way it should be, but it will be. And thirdly, he's engaging the Niger Delta militants so that they can increase oil production. Once you get that done, once you get the production back, right, that sector, the petroleum sector, had a minus 22% negative growth in the third quarter. If you can get it back to, say, 1.8 or 1.9 or 2 million barrels, you would have essentially got the country out of a recession to start with. Then how you spend and how you invest the proceeds of your borrowing one and the revenues you get will be the question of getting you into a recovery. So the president is banking on two things. One, I've presented an economic recovery and growth plan there. I have a budget which is moving in the right direction. And I have work in progress in terms of petroleum and foreign exchange. Therefore, please be patient. This is going to happen. That's the message. But how soon is it going to happen? And how impactful is it going to be on people is a question that needs to be
the key question here, and we thank our viewers very quickly, Mr. Rwane. Quite a number of tweets coming in from our viewers out there about what has been done and what has been achieved. We have a few. Charles on BT Da Vinci 077 says we should please ask you, because he said I should ask you, boason, please ask Mr. Rwane about cryptocurrencies as a solution to Nigeria's domestic foreign exchange challenges.
Well, to be honest with you, currency values, all of this are just playing with mirrors. The reality is that when you have a currency value that is close enough to equilibrium, the market will clear. If you say the currency value is 305, then test it by putting everything out at 305 and whether you can actually meet the demand. You cannot. But when we did our PPP analysis, we are coming out with figures of
PPP stands for purchasing power parity. Thank you.
We are coming out with values at about 327, 329. Why is the market value at 490, 500? When the economic value of the currency is about 320, 330. Why is that different? The difference is because people have no confidence in the way it is being.
So who brings the confidence to close or to erase that? Not to close, just cut it off.
You just have to believe in markets. You have to believe in markets, and you've got to let the market operate. You do not regulate prices. Allow the market operate, and you intervene with the, with the resources you have to maintain what you can call a floating rate. Russia and Kazakhstan did the same. They're oil producers. Their currencies went all the way down. And the Russian stock market and Kazakhstan have all appreciated 45%. The currency went all the way down and has appreciated. On the other hand, Venezuela, which has its own political problems, has had a situation where the currency has been running away. So you've got to understand markets. You've got to have confidence. You've got to have balls to face it. And then, you see, the central bank is not going to manufacture dollars. They can only manage the dollars that we have. And the management...
So who brings in the dollars?
The dollars will come in when the price...
Because we need supply as well as managing.
Yes, you have your dollars coming in from oil proceeds. You have your dollars coming in from diaspora remittances. You have your dollars coming in from investments. You have your dollars coming in from borrowed funds, from customers.
The last three you mentioned haven't been coming in.
No, they're not coming in because the people have no confidence.
The confidence in who? In the administration, in the Buhari's administration, or in the central bank?
Confidence in the markets that you operate. So you see, there's no point talking about who is responsible. The point is, how do we get out of it?
We have an inefficient market.
We have an inefficient market, so we've got to get out of it.
So we agree. Then the president says in his New Year message, paragraph 20, I am encouraged that we are getting things right. Yes or no?
Well, in some respects. But let me ask, there was a part of the speech, he said, we are going to be, everything's going to be based on made in Nigeria goods and all that.
Yes.
I want you to tell me which government, local, state, or federal, which of them is using a made in Nigeria car? Tell me one.
Very interesting question.
Yes, they cannot answer that. Right? If you understand, how many of them, how many people in the Nigerian government, both at the federal, state, and municipal level, have their children going to school overseas? Why are they not going to the schools here? Why are they not using local medical resources? So you can't, listen, this is not going to be achieved overnight. Once you allow the exchange rate to find its true value, people will give up, people will make their changes. And some of them will bring their children back, some will do all of this. But the reality is that this is a tough situation. And, lip service is not going to get us anywhere. We need to now begin
very tough situation in the paragraph you're talking about, paragraph 23 in the President's New Year speech. And that's where he said, like I said during the 2017 budget presentation to the National Assembly, farmers, small and medium enterprises, agro-allied businesses, dressmakers, entertainers, and technology startups will remain the true drivers of our economic future. You agree with the President?
I agree. I agree.
You agree? Now, in terms of policies and actions to take it forward, do you see that? Or did you see that in the 2017 budget?
All of these things are good. However, as long as...
Are good on paper?
No, they're good. And we are beginning to see rice is being harvested. There are some results. However, the results compared to the negatives that are coming out of a foreign exchange market that is in disequilibrium, are pale. You are not going to get anywhere except three things happen. One, you have a supplementary budget, which is based on actual increase in dollars invested in this economy, including borrowing. Two, engaging the Niger Delta people to stop all their un-Nigerian activities to ensure that we can get oil revenues back and oil production back to where it is. And thirdly, most importantly, reform and overhaul of the foreign exchange market, the way it's being implemented.
Time very fast running out for this special discussion with you, Mr. Rwanda. So I'm going to ask the question. The President in paragraph 24 talks about on job creation. This administration, I'm quoting the President, Mr. President, now that will sustain existing programs aimed at lifting a vast number of youth out of poverty. So do you think the President, all this administration's current job creation policies are good enough at letting them stay?
Jobs are a function of investment. Investments are two-pronged. One, government investment. Two, private sector investment. Private sector investment is negative. People are not investing because the interest rates are too high, they are cutthroat, right? And the exchange rate market is unpredictable. If those two things are not solved, you can say all you want. These are nice words, but you're not going to get anywhere.
The administration's officials throughout 2016 beat their chest about job creation because some parastatals like the police are recruiting more. What's your answer to that?
Well, the police need to recruit more because there's a security challenge. But I don't think that is the solution. You know, there's technological change, there's investment, and there's productivity growth. Productivity growth in Nigeria is negative. That means Nigerian workers are having declining productivity because of, you know...
Our productivity quarter-on-quarter basis, according to the last NBS, which was released during the Christmas holiday, was just about 715. I'm not sure if the person has not.
Yeah, but the truth is that productivity growth, according to the EIU, which is December 2016, is showing minus 1.71% growth, right? But it was growing positively, but labor productivity growth, that's what I'm talking about. GDP growth is negative, but labor productivity growth is negative. And so we need to do things. And why? Power, right? Why? There's low investment. And now, before we close, I think it's important to understand that the financial system itself is showing signs of fragility.
We're not closing yet,
yes.
Mr. Rwanda. We're not closing yet. 2 minutes, I want you to touch on anti-corruption. The President says it will be unthinkable on my part to allow the boat of this crucial campaign, our anti-corruption, capsize midstream. This sounds like the President knows that, yes, he's facing serious challenges as far as anti-corruption is concerned.
Yes. I think he's the only president so far that has been able to actually, I think General Obasanjo also did the same, go headlong against corruption. But corruption is a hydra-headed problem. The people the culprits of corruption have more to lose than the entire country has to benefit. And they will fight back with everything. They have fought back, it's entrenched interest. They will continue to fight back, and do not underestimate it. So, I mean, I like what the President is saying, but we need to get some convictions. We need some trophies. We need some trophies. We have not been able to, you see, it's like playing a game and not winning any trophies. Show us some trophies.
No, you started the program, you started your conversation with the European Premier League. So I understand your fascination with that.
I need some trophies.
We need some trophies. When we come back after the break, the President concluded the New Year message by saying the pains are temporary, but there is no deadline as to when the gains will come in. So I want you to help us understand the tea leaves when we come back. Where do we go from here? Okay. That's the final lap of this special edition, holiday edition of Business Morning. We'll be back in 2.